Womanjika, Kusazangpo, Kimcho, Salamat Pagi Abakaba, Asana Asante Bawana, Talofa. G'day, how are you? Welcome back to Oscar Bento Visual Ethnography and Storytelling. It's been a while. My name is Ross, in case you don't know it. I want to ask you a few questions with regards to spirituality. What is a spirit? What has a spirit? A human, a plant, an animal, a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot creature, an insect, a cat, a tree, a field of flowering plants, a mountaintop, a river. Do they all have spirits? A lot of First Nations peoples and religious peoples believe that. They basically believe that everything in nature, whether it's a rock or a lake or a tree or an animal or some type of human, they all have a spirit. Can you see a spirit? Can a spirit appear before our eyes like a ghost? Is a ghost in itself a spirit? Is an aura a spirit or a part of a spirit? What about an orb, a ball of light? Is that a spirit, or is that simply a energy force? Does an orb have a consciousness and therefore it's aware of itself and its surroundings, therefore it could be classed as a spirit? Can spirits transform and move around out of a body, out of a tree, out of an animal, and move around and then come back to its original state as a human or as a plant or as an animal? Does that person, plant or animal have to die for a spirit to leave? Or once the spirit leaves, is there some life form still attached to the flesh and blood or the plant or the animal? What about people who meditate or who can levitate? If their spirit leaves their body in a state of meditation, is that body dead? Or is it still alive? Is there some sort of thin silver string, which a lot of people have described, that joins the spirit realm to a person, for example? What happens if that thread is cut? How long can a spirit live outside a body without the body needing food and nutrition or sunlight or photosynthesis or evapotranspiration like a tree or a bush or a flower or ferns or a mushroom? How long do spirits live? Once its natural body dies as such or biodegrades into the earth? Is a spirit infinite? Can a spirit transform into another living being? Fascinating subject. What about portals and time travel? What happens with a spirit with regards to that phenomena, or black matter, or black energy? Does the spirit or does the life force, can it move away from Earth and travel vast distances to other planets, or is it simply bound on Earth? I don't know. Can you see spirits, as I mentioned before with a ghost? What about cloaking and shape-shifting? Is that a spirit of a creature that hasn't transformed yet into flesh and blood and bone? Its energy field, its aura, its spirit, with shape-shifting and cloaking. So can a spirit transform and move to and from various locations, or can it transform into the air and through a tree or through a wall underground and move in and out of the earth like a ghost travelling through a wall and then going underground and back up again and down and up? People have seen shape-shifting or cloaking creatures, especially Yowie, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, Alma Capri, Junjiti, Yeti, Apple Sprite, fairies, goblins, pixies, elves, mountain giants, witches, dogman. People have seen them cloaking or have seen them shape-shifting. Is that the spirit of that being? Is that their life force? Is that their aura? Is that their energy? Is it all intertwined and no words can describe it? What is being physical anyway? Am I physical now? I know I'm made up of atoms and I'm over 70% water. Why don't I just collapse if I'm made of water? Most of myself is made of water. Interesting. Is there a difference between a spirit and the physical flesh, or is it one and the same? It's simply a transformative state. Can a human spirit enter a tree and become a tree? Can a tree spirit enter a human and become a human? Can an animal spirit live inside a tree and survive through photosynthesis and evapotranspiration for years on end and then transform back to an animal or back to a human? Are tree spirits and animal spirits and river spirits and human spirits different to each other? or are they all the same? They have an energy, a frequency, a life force. And it's only different once it becomes a tree or an animal or a human or a rock or a river. Is the sun a spirit? Is the moon a spirit? Are planets a spirit unto themselves? How many spirits are there? Is there only one life force on earth? One spirit on earth? And we are mere children of that life force? Are we simply a part, a tiny, tiny part of a larger spirit? Are we all the same? An integral part, like ingredients in a cake perhaps. We're all different, but we make up a cake. I don't know. Bit of a weird analogy, isn't it? What is energy? What is consciousness? What is life? What's the difference between life and death? Is there a difference between life and death? Is death just a word that means something physical has left the spirit or the life force and it biodegrades into the earth, for example? Can an animal spirit, say for example a lynx, can that lynx see a human in the spirit form, or do they see it as a physical being? Can it feel its energy, its life force, its consciousness, its awareness, its emotion? A lot of animals do feel emotion. Humans feel emotion, can see emotion. Someone crying, someone laughing, someone scared. Does our spirit change with emotions? Is spirit simply energy? Or spirituality simply energy, like an orb? So I want you to think about that, people. I want to go back to seeing spirits or being conscious and aware of a spirit. As I said before, people have seen Sasquatch, Yowie creatures or Bigfoot creatures cloaking and shape-shifting. And I've seen that myself. What about a voice, someone hearing a voice in their mind speak? What about a person hearing a voice out loud, like someone is standing next to them, but you can't see them, you can't smell them, you can't even feel their presence, but you can hear a voice out loud? That's called clairaudence. I've heard that twice. I've heard a female voice call out my name twice. Once when I was asleep, and once when I was awake. So that's the spirit, isn't it? Hearing a voice, or a ghost, or something shape-shifting, or perhaps seeing an aura. I've seen auras or the energy from a tree, these 3 trees here. And I've seen it amongst about 8 gum trees here. And when I was along this path looking towards these trees, and I first noticed the tree spirits or the tree energy or the tree consciousness, I noticed that the ground and the surrounding area, it looked like a dreamscape. It's like a fairy landscape. It was a heightened awareness. I was on a certain frequency, a certain vibration. So obviously there's different levels of awareness and consciousness. What about dreams and daydreaming? Teleportation perhaps? What about déjà vu or premonitions? What sort of frequency are you on to have a premonition or déjà vu or even a dream? Is that a different, are we on a different frequency when we sleep? Is our spirit more active or is it resting while we sleep? Obviously we can still hear when we are asleep. I was woken up by it. And a lot of people do get woken up straight away by, say for example, a thunderstorm or a possum on the roof when you're asleep. So we're still conscious when we're asleep, as we are whilst we're awake. And even meditating or daydreaming, we're still conscious. We still have an awareness around us. Now, us humans, we have 5 main senses. We sense the world around us through sight, through hearing, taste, touch, and smell. But we have other senses as well. A 6th sense, a gut instinct, like when you can sense someone behind you, following you, or perhaps you sense a type of characteristic of a person walking towards you on a footpath. You can sense the character, if they're a bad person, if they're a good person, if they're heartbroken, you can sense that. What's all that about? Sensory perception on another level. Is that a 6th or 7th sense? What about mind speak and clairaudence? Is that a 7th and 8th sense or 9th sense? What about seeing spirits in trees or an aura? Is that a 9th or 10th sense? What about shape-shifting and cloaking and seeing that? Is that a 10th or 11th sense? What about déjà vu and dreaming? Is that a 12th and 13th sense? Clairaudence? Time travel perhaps? A lot of people do get lost in the bush and they lose time. They only think they've gone for a half-hour bushwalk, but they've been gone 6 hours. And their friends who are waiting for them in the car park saying, "Where the hell have you been? You've been 6 hours. What's all that about? Did they walk through a portal? Some dark energy? Some sort of orb? What's all that about?" So I believe we can be on various frequencies to pick up an awareness around us. Our spirit can feel it, can sense it in various ways, not only through sight and hearing and smell, but other heightened awarenesses, clairaudence, shape-shifting, meditation, levitation, astral travel. People who can remote view. People who can leave their bodies and go to another country and remote view and be aware of what's going on in a certain location. What's all that about? Is that their spirit leaving their body whilst their flesh and blood is still alive and coming back? A lot of religious people can get into that trance or that state of meditation, or through prayer, or through herbal medicine, or through using essential oils perhaps. So I want to keep this video short for upload time, so I just want you to be aware of that. Be aware that a lot of people can sense a spirit, whether it's seeing an animal spirit or a tree spirit or a spirit from a yowie or a past relative, a ghost. They can hear it through clairaudience. So I want you to be consciously aware. Open up your mind, people. Don't have your blinkers on. I know a lot of you people are just focused on what's happening, paying off a mortgage, paying bills and having a job or a career or whatever it is, paying taxes. And they aren't aware of the wider spirit realm or spirits within nature. They're all around us. Buddhism speaks about it. Spirits within rivers and plants and trees and so forth, all locations. In this location, the Wurundjeri people call it Tikilara, spirit within a place. Perhaps that's what I felt when I was in this dreamscape, this fairy landscape. When I saw the tree spirits and the ground, it was like a foggy, shimmering enlightenment on a certain frequency. We can be in tune in certain frequencies, whether it's through prayer or through meditation or essential oils or having a massage, and after a massage, when we stand up, we can feel our spirit. It's been leaving our body and we're unbalanced, and it takes a while for us to become grounded again. I felt that myself. Or even people who use Ouija boards and speak to the spirits, or witch doctors and speak to the spirits and travel whilst in a trance. What's all that about? Okay? A lot of people can see other spirits or be aware and conscious of other spirits, whether it's a tree or animal or plant or a Sasquatch or a Yowie or a Yeti. They can see them, they can sense them, they can feel them, whether it's a sixth sense, a gut instinct, or smelling them, or clairaudience, or mind speak, or projected emotions. So be aware of that. Hundreds of thousands of people have been able to tune in like that for literally hundreds of thousands of years. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. You be good, you be safe, and do your bloody homework. Thank you.